How do you think you would fare during war times?
Fair as in
How do you think you would do? Because I know it's
horrible. I'd die, like, in the first 5 minutes.
it's a weird question because, like, technically, like, I lived during war times, like during the Iraq War and
Well, you weren't
things like
there,
that. But it wasn't like on our land, or it wasn't like World War II or something like that. So, but don't know how I would do. It'd be kind of difficult, but I'm sure the one thing that we can agree on, it would be depressing.
It would be too depressing.
It's kind of like what we're going to be talking about today, which is
In this corner of the world.
Hey, we got a tale to tell where two hearts collide. In this Emmy spell, father and daughter sharing dreams in the world of Benga. Nothing's as it seems. We've had a half in the journey, side by side, laughs and adventures we won't hide. Join the ride in this anime tonight. We found a half shining bright.
Welcome to Weeb and a Half, a podcast where dad and daughter bond over anime, argue about everything from plot twists to favorite characters, and prove that watching anime together is actually the best kind of family time.
been watching anything new here lately?
Well, I'm still not currently logged into Crunchyroll or Hulu, so, can't watch much, because it's not logged in on my TV. So, just been reading Attack on Titan. I think I've made it to, book 18, 17, one of them.
Yeah, I started watching Attack on Titan again to get caught up with you.
You fell asleep for the first episode,
yeah, I
didn't you?
didn't even make it in 5 minutes because, it was late and I was just going to watch one episode and I didn't do it. I tried, and I'm going to probably try to watch again. Yeah.
You are.
But speaking of movies or anime that I fall asleep in, today we're going to be doing something from, is it Studio Ghibli?
No, it is not.
Oh, it's not.
You do fall asleep doing those, though.
Yeah, I don't think I've made it
Not as bad
completely through a full Studio Ghibli film. And this one, I guess, just because it was an anime movie, I associate it with Studio Ghibli.
Not as bad as that one guy in the theater just sleeping with his headphones on in the back.
Yeah, during The Boy and the Heron.
Just out. I don't get it, but...
Yeah, but today we're doing the movie In This Corner of the World, which is set during the World War II. Well, it's set during World War II, and it's not about the military or really anything on that side. It's just about the people, going through their daily lives during one of the biggest wars in history.
Yep.
And we watched this together a while back, and I fell asleep multiple times.
I got it at the library on a DVD, and we put it into the PS4 and watched it.
So I went back and rewatched it last night so I could talk about it more.
Yeah.
It is a super depressing movie. I mean, it's not as depressing as Grave of the Fireflies, which has to be one of the saddest movies about World War II, which you haven't watched yet, but
because you said I can't till I'm older.
What's funny is my friend Jeff was talking about, but when he was just getting into anime, he went to Suncoast Video, which they used to be in malls, and it was like they would have movies and music and things like that, but a lot of it was like Asian stuff. And the first movie he ever bought was one of the employees there talked him into buying Grave of the Fireflies.
Why would they do that to him?
And he was all like, yeah. We were talking about Suncoast Video. He's like, yeah, lots of great memories there. Like the first time I ever went in, and they convinced me that Grave of the Fireflies would be a great movie to get into on anime.
I don't know if that's true.
No. And yeah, if y'all have ever watched Grave of the Fireflies, you know what I'm talking about. One of the saddest cartoons I've ever watched.
Did you cry?
No.
Mama would have burst into tears.
Oh, no, she did. She cried several times. And I mean,
I cried watching Finding Nemo, okay?
I got choked up in it. I mean, it's super sad. The one in this corner of the universe, though, I like
in
the world, yeah. I really like the way the anime is done on it.
I like the
But
style.
so it follows Suzu, a kind of daydreamy girl she's good at drawing.
Yeah, really good at watercolors.
Mm-hmm. She gets married off to a guy in Kure,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know if you know this, but Kure was actually an actual Navy port during World War II. And so a lot of that stuff, a lot of what they went through was true. Like it was real life. It wasn't something they just made up. You know, it showed how her daily life was changing and with the food and, rationing and then all the people she was losing and everything. You know, the other big part of it is Kure was only a couple miles away from Hiroshima, which is where we dropped one of the atomic bombs.
Oof.
So I think that's another part of what makes this movie so sad is because, they see the mushroom cloud in the distance. What do you remember? I mean, I know you remember it, but what were some of the things that stuck out to you in it?
I mean, the style, obviously, because it's got like very like a painted vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's like a mix between forget the movie name about this like young bamboo princess girl or whatever, and it's like it looks like it's just been painted onto the thing, like it doesn't have like any fine lines, it just looks painted, and it's like a mix between that and Studio Ghibli movies, to where it just like becomes like right in the middle, where it's like doesn't look watercolored completely, but just like doesn't also look completely just drawn. But I liked how, because in most of them it follows people that are in the military, but I don't know if anyone in the family during that movie was in the military.
Well, I mean, her husband.
He was?
Well, at the end, he got his suit.
Yeah,
and because he was just like an administration guy, but then he got his thing, and he was going to be going into the military when they got bombed, and so he didn't really get to leave.
Yeah.
And one of the things that sticks out to me is like when her friend shows up at the house, and
oh yeah,
her friend from where she grew up, and he was always talking, and like throughout the whole thing, he's just laughing, and it's almost like he's in denial that, what's going to happen, because he was a soldier. And then how they, he even told her, this is probably the last time we'll see each other. And they never say what happens to him, but yeah, he never.
I mean, we can kind of assume.
Yeah, he
what
never
happens.
shows back up. And so, the way they pointed that out is, yeah, these people come back into your life, but the war just took them away for you to never really know what happened.
That little girl, oh my god, I cried so hard. I was like crying on the inside so hard. I was like I was doing watercolor while watching a movie, and I looked back up, and then I'm like, oh.
Or like when
oh no.
I mean, even the whole sense when I guess it was her brother-in-law, when he died, because they didn't even have remains for him. Like they just got a box with a rock in it.
Yeah, it's like, that's all we have? It's just a rock?
Yeah, and her sister-in-law was all like, is that his brain?
Yeah, it's like, is that his brain? No, it's a rock. How do they know? Like, it's just like a rock from where they found it?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's not even that. It's just
a rock from where it happened.
Yeah, being like, this is what we have of him.
It's not even something of him.
Yeah, but like you mentioned with the art style, because the scene where during the first air raid, because, at the beginning there's just, the rationing and trying to find stuff, like where they accidentally lost the sugar and they had to go to the black market and buy some more sugar, which is one of my favorite scenes, when her sister is talking about ice cream and then she drinks some water and she's like, it's interesting how when you talk about desserts while you're drinking water, it makes the water taste so much sweeter. And it's because she had spilt all the sugar into the water, so that's why it was sweeter. Then when it picks up and there's like the air raids, and the colors were like the watercolors. It wasn't just explosions. It was like blues and greens, and like she was drawing to where it was like her escape.
Yeah.
She would draw, but
it's like her view of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I remember this one part, because she used to sit there and draw the ocean with the ships. I think the military or someone came up and told her that she couldn't do that or something. because she was drawing the ships coming in with, like, I guess, I don't know, supplies or something.
Yeah, they thought she was a spy.
Yeah, they thought she was a spy because she was painting them, and she's like, no, I just paint. And didn't they, like, take it or something? I don't know.
Yeah, they took it, but someone else was just all like, her brother's in the military, and all that. But yeah, they were like, what is she doing? Even the one scene where it's showing the ships and it's like, it's her drawing them.
Mm-hmm.
It weaves the artistry into the film throughout the whole thing. And, it is a very big movie about loss because she loses lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the one big one that you were referring to is her niece.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be her niece.
Yeah. When they're there and they realize it's a unexploded bomb.
Yeah,
and
she's holding onto her hand. And they were on two sides of the path, I guess, or the road or something, and they were running to get back home, and the bomb drops and it hits the girl, and Suzu loses her arm.
Well, it doesn't hit the girl. What it does is it lands and it doesn't explode. And they're looking at it, and that's when she starts hearing in her head them talking about unexploded bombs that might not detonate when they land, and then she realizes what's going on and blows up, and where it was at,
it hit the girl first.
It hits the girl and it takes her arm.
I remember because I was sad that she never really forgave herself for it, because she kept saying, if only I was on the other side of the road.
Yeah, like she was like, I had my packages in one hand and holding on to her hand with the other, and if it was just on the other side.
What's her name? Is it?
Actually,
do we have it written?
Guess it doesn't, but
it started with an H, didn't it?
Yeah. Let me see here real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, just even her though, when she was grieving, her sister-in-law is just calling her a murderer,
I think one of the scenes that I found more funny was when they were weaving shoes, the straw. And she's like, it's a lot harder with one arm, and her shoe looks fine. And her sister-in-law is just like, has like the crappiest looking shoe, and she's like, stop talking already, because she has both her arms and she can't even do as good. It's like, stop talking. It's like, it's a lot harder with one arm though.
Harumi. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and her sister-in-law was Keiko.
Yeah, she was really interested in that girl though. Yeah. The little girl was so interested in Suzu.
And all her boat facts. She knew about all the different kinds of boats and things. Yeah, even with that, like you said, she never really forgave herself, but also she grieved quietly.
Yeah.
It's not a very dramatic, oh no, that happened, but you can tell she hurts. And just the way that's drawn is really interesting. Then when the other, what was it? They were dropping like those flares everywhere trying to set the city on fire, and like that one landed in hers and she like tried to put it out and she caught on fire too, and they had to put the water, get the water, put her out.
I remember that one time they thought the old man died and they were so scared.
Yeah, because he fell asleep.
Yeah, it was during an air raid and they were just sitting there out in the front and they hear the sirens and the old man starts sheltering them and then he just like falls asleep and they just think he's dead. They're like, oh my God, he's finally gone. Oh no.
Have you ever watched Your Name?
I read the first book.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I was just wondering because some people say it's a more romanticized version of this.
I don't really know the entire plot. I just know that he continuously wakes up in new bodies and he swapped bodies with this one girl. They kept saying, you act so different, because I'm pretty sure he was like an artist or something. And when he was in her body, he started drawing and they're like, why are you drawing? You could never do that. And they just thought that he was just like so weird. She was acting so weird.
And because I don't want to just kind of go through and give the whole storyline on everything that happened on this, but the soundtrack also stuck out to me because it was quiet and it didn't really like impose, but I think what was a lot more effective is when they decided not to use sound, like right after the bombings.
Like you wouldn't have been able to hear like the second it hit though, because it would have been so loud.
And I think that's one of the big things when the bomb explodes, when it's her and Harumi, is, it's silent and it's just those flashes of pictures. Like, almost like explosions, but there's no sound because, your ears would be ringing. You couldn't hear. And it was like how she experienced it. And then, woke up without an arm.
She would have lost her left arm, right? Because if she was walking towards us.
No, it was her right arm because,
it was?
yeah.
Okay.
The director, Sunao Katabuchi, apparently spent years researching this. Like it wasn't one of those they just decided to do it.
To make it a great movie, you probably have to.
Yeah. I mean, and there's some that people, some directors will research a lot, some of them won't, and sometimes it's mixed results, but sometimes they can go too deep into it. But I feel like she did a really good job. I can't say like, oh, well, it really felt like we were there because
we weren't.
Right.
We wouldn't know.
It was still like it was effective, whatever she did. But also at the same time, this was a manga as well.
It was?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I just got the DVD from the library.
Yeah, you just found it from there. Yeah, apparently.
We got like 15 of those, and I was like, oh my gosh, we can put them in the PS4.
A fun little fact, do you know who produced this anime?
I read it. It was, hold on, it's written down. I know where it is. Mappa Studios, known for Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah. And they're also the ones who I think they did part of Attack on Titan as well. Like the last season or whatever was Mappa.
Yeah.
Any other parts or scenes that stick out to you?
Another one of those like mom superstitions in the beginning, when she's holding the chopsticks, but she holds it on the far end, and they say, well, if you hold the chopsticks on a far end, you're going to have to travel far to get married. Because it was just like a superstition, depending on where you hold the chopsticks, of how far you're going to have to go when you get married. Yeah.
Some of the references they do, like the whole opening the umbrella thing. He's all like, do you have a new umbrella? And she's like, yes, I do. And then he just uses it to get some fruit out the window. When they get the ants and they're trying to figure out the way of getting rid of the ants from not stealing their sugar. And they're like, oh, well, if we put it in a floating bowl in the middle of the water, which I guess makes sense.
Can't ants swim?
Probably. I mean, I really don't know.
I feel like that's, I forget what it was. That one bug we learned about could swim. I don't remember. But
then it just sunk into the water and they lost. But when she went to the black market and realized all the stuff that they could buy, even though it was super expensive and everything. And then she met that one girl who wanted her to draw ice cream. Yep. And she didn't even know what ice cream was.
Okay, now coming back when they were in that weird town and she's like, how do I get to here? And
yeah,
like
she got lost in her.
They were all just such weird people. It's like a bunch of weird women.
And then, the one that actually stopped and helped her.
It was so random. Like, I was like what's going on?
Well, once again, it was one of those things where that girl came in and like, she's all like, well, I'd like to come back here. And the girl's like, you shouldn't. It's dangerous. And like, you never see her again. And then she's just a long list of people that show up and then just disappear. Like even her family, like close to the end where they were living, the whole place was kind of destroyed, but it doesn't actually ever say, did her parents get out? Or, that was the whole thing. It's like, I'm sure they got away.
Oh, there's this one other part that I really liked. It was whenever they were online, I don't know if it was like to sign up for something or I don't know. It was like they were in a long line and they were getting near the front and she's like, why aren't you wearing socks? And she's talking to her husband and he's like, because the ones you made me didn't fit, but you should wear them anyways. You'll get blisters on your feet. It's like yelling at him
and they're
for
like,
not wearing socks.
Yeah, and they get into the big fight in the rations line.
It's like they were too small.
And then after the bombing of Hiroshima, it's kind of weird because it goes from that because her husband was about to leave. Her husband didn't get to leave, and they were looking in like all the trains. None of them were leaving either because all that. And then it cut to that random scene. I wasn't sure what was going on when it shows the house, the town getting bombed, and it shows the other little girl with her mom.
Other little girl.
Yeah, at the very end, there's the little girl and her mom, and the house gets bombed or whatever, and her mom sits down in the rubble and like she's got glass all in her arm, and the
Oh.
little girl's like sitting there beside her.
Oh,
and
and
then
she like there's like flies everywhere.
yeah, and then
Yeah, she
it
like
cuts,
rots.
and it's like yeah, there's all the flies, and she tries to like
Oh
move
yeah,
them
and they
away,
take her in.
and then yeah, her mom like falls forward, and like the maggots pour out of her.
Ew,
Like
it was
that
so gross.
yeah,
But I remember she takes her in, and they're like,
yeah, because
she has lice. She has lice.
she drops her roll,
Mhm.
and they were like, she went to get it or whatever, and the little girl grabs it, and her husband's just like, just leave it. And she ate it, and then like the little girl pulls the piece of rice off of her face and eats it because it's like she was so hungry she was eating food off the other lady's face.
Yeah.
And then just like held onto her, and they took her back to their house and was going to pretty much raise her. And then when they had the lice and everyone's like, everyone needs a bath, we'll steam our clothes, and then Keiko's all like, I'm sure some of Harumi's stuff will fit her, and it was kind of like
Yeah. She was like opening
full
the box,
circle.
and she was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Like I said, I didn't cry or get choked up, and I made it through pretty much the whole movie, which
Yeah.
I can't say for most Studio Ghibli things, which I have
It
nothing
wasn't
against
studio.
Studio Ghibli.
It wasn't studio.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but a lot of the anime movies in that vein,
Mhm.
I just, for some reason, I can't stay awake.
The music is like really, soothing, I guess. Like
Mhm.
House Moving Castle theme is really pretty.
But I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Like I said, rewatched it, and because I didn't want to go into this and being like, oh, hey, just talk about what you remember, Dexy.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't have gotten to say much, honestly.
and what do you, any closing remarks or anything over it, or anything like that you would recommend, or?
Anything like it. I don't think I've watched many that sad, honestly.
Well, like I said, if you want to be depressed, you just watch Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah. Might
Yeah.
make you feel worse about your current situation if you are depressed.
I don't know. It might make you feel better because at least you don't have it as bad as them.
Well, that's what I meant. Oh my God, bro. That's what I meant. Sorry.
But all right, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we have a little game. It's not probably going to be a funny game just because, read the room. But
Yeah.
but we'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, fellow anime fans, it's Dexy. If you're loving Weeb and a Half and want to help support the show, you should totally check out our Patreon. Not only will you be helping us keep the podcast going, but you'll also get some awesome perks like bonus episodes, access to the Discord, and even a shout out in an episode. Basically, you'll get more anime talk, more laughs, and maybe even more of Dad's terrible takes. Trust me, it's worth it. So if you want to join our little anime family and get some exclusive goodies, head over to patreon.com/weebandahalf and check it out. Thanks for the support, and as always, stay weeby.
All right, we're back, and we're going to do a game real quick. And what this one is I'm going to ask Dexy about a scenario, and she's going to have to either guess on whether it's made up, actually happened in the movie in this corner of the world, or if it's from another slice of life anime.
Do you know if there are animes that I would know if they are?
You might not,
Okay.
but the first one is a girl paints clouds on her bedroom wall to cheer up her younger sibling after a bombing drill.
I don't know. Is that made up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I was like, I don't remember that happening. I'm pretty sure they had sisters, but I didn't know.
All right. Number 2, a woman makes rice balls from barley and weeds and then draws them to remember what real food used to taste like.
Say no, it's not in that.
It is.
It is. I don't remember
she
that.
makes them, and then like there's another scene later when they go into the village after one of the air raids and they're handing out rice balls and she gets excited.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 3. A girl brings home a stray cat only to realize it's the same one she had to give up when she was evacuated.
I'm gonna say that might be a different one.
It is a different one.
What's it from?
It's from My Neighbors the Yamadas.
I think I've looked over that one before when looking through the manga section.
Yeah, I remember I've seen it because I don't really pay attention to a lot of the slice of life ones because...
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like that exciting unless they're like super funny, like Nichijou My Ordinary Life. That's like the funniest anime out there.
I don't know if the devil is a part-timer, really slice of
That's an
life.
isekai, right? Because
I mean, I guess because he is in a different
yeah, he gets
place.
transported into a different world. You know, the devil's a part-timer at McDonald's now, so technically that's the isekai.
Yeah, it's just, I guess, like an inverted.
It's just like
Okay.
the opposite, I
Yeah.
guess.
All right, number 4. During an air raid, a family hides under a table and sings a lullaby to drown out the noise of the explosions.
You know how long ago I watched that movie? It was like been months. I watched it like last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say no.
It is made up.
Okay, I was like, I don't think that they would want to sing a lullaby.
All right, and example 5. A girl imagines enemy warships as giant ink brush strokes across the sea.
I'm gonna go with yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suzu totally did that.
I'm like, that sounds like something Susie
Yeah,
would do.
it's a striking artistic moment that blends her imagination with the violence of war.
Mhm.
So,
Is that it?
yeah, that's it. You pretty much hit all of them but one, so you
Yeah.
made an 80.
Yay.
So that's good. All right, I think that's getting close to wrapping up this episode. We're probably going to do some more movies in the future.
Mhm.
I mean, we might even do some video games. I don't know.
Genshin Impact.
Yeah, that's the one you want to do, right?
Yeah. I mean, does the Ghost of Tsushima count? It's technically Japanese.
I mean, yeah, but it's not really.
Yeah,
anime.
it's more realism. I feel like it looks more real.
Yeah. So, and don't know what I'm going to do next week, but I know we've got some good ones coming up because we're going to be doing Attack on Titan soon.
Once I finish it.
Yep. And once I get, I should be able to knock it out too because it's going to be a couple weeks. So.
You say as you can barely watch one episode.
Yeah. I mean, I think, who knows? We might do The Devil is a Part-Timer next week.
That would be fun.
So.
It's kind of Celestial Forcey.
Yeah.
YOLO.
And it's a little bit more uplifting than this one was.
It's got humor.
Yeah. But y'all can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcast and anywhere where you find your podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review and share the podcast with fellow anime friends. And there's our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/weebandahalf and become a member and pick up some perks there.
Mm-hmm. And our email is weebandahhalfpodcast@gmail.com.
So reach out to us if you have any questions or comments, which I actually haven't checked that, and I don't know if you've checked it because you should get notifications, but...
My notifications weren't turned off because Atticus was blowing up the group chat. What are you talking about?
So, yeah. Who knows? We might have a huge fan base that we don't even know about because we don't check things like that. But Patreon, I'm pretty sure I'd get an update. But
Probably.
Anyway, so that's a wrap on today's episode of Weeb and a Half, and thanks for hanging out with us. And remember, whether you're a hardcore weeb or just here for the fun, we're all family.
I'm Dexy.
And I'm Blake.
And stay weeby.